All right, let's talk about one of the biggest things in tech right now, large language models, or LLMs. We're going to pull back the curtain and break down how these incredible AIs actually work, from the big ideas down to the models you can actually try out yourself. So let's just dive right in.
I mean, you've seen it, right? It can spit out a poem, write some code, or summarize a super dense article in just seconds. It really does feel like magic. But what is actually happening behind that screen? How in the world does a machine create text that feels so human? Well, that's the big question we're going to tackle today.
So first things first, what exactly is a large language model? It's easy to think of it as some kind of digital brain, but the reality is actually a lot simpler, and honestly, it's even more fascinating when you get it.
Okay, so here's the textbook definition. It's an AI that's been trained on a truly mind-boggling amount of text. We're talking about like huge chunks of the internet, entire libraries of books, tons of articles, all of it, just so it can learn the patterns of how we talk and write. But that definition, it doesn't really capture the how, does it? This right here, this is the best way to get your head around it. Seriously, forget the whole thinking machine idea for a second. Instead, just picture the autocomplete feature on your phone, but then crank it up to 1 billion. Because at its very core, that's what an LLM is, a ridiculously powerful prediction machine.
So here's the absolute key takeaway. When you ask an LLM something, it's not thinking about your question, and it's not doing a live Google search for the answer. Nope. What it's actually doing is using all of the statistical patterns it learned from its training to make a really educated guess about what the next word in the sentence should be, and then the next word, and the next, building its entire response one word at a time. And that last point is so crucial. It is a prediction engine, not a search engine. Okay, so we've established it's a prediction machine, but how does it know which words to predict? How does it make sense of our questions to begin with? To get that, we need to take a quick peek under the hood at the architecture that makes it all possible. The engine that's driving pretty much all modern LLMs is something called a transformer architecture. Now, I know that sounds super technical and kind of scary, but don't worry about the name. The main idea behind it is actually really clever and intuitive.
I mean, think about it. If you ask a long, complicated question, how does the model figure out which words are the most important? If it just treated every single word with equal weight, the answer would be a complete mess, right? It has to have a way to focus on what matters.
And this is where the real genius comes in. It's a process called the attention mechanism. You could call it the secret sauce inside the transformer. This is what lets the model look at your entire prompt and figure out which words are most important and how they relate to each other, no matter how far apart they are in a sentence.
This is a perfect way to visualize how it works. So imagine you ask a question like, "Tell me about the history of domestic cats." The attention mechanism works like a spotlight. It shines a bright light on the word cats, of course, but it also highlights all the related concepts it learned during training, things like feline, domestication, maybe ancient Egypt, while kind of dimming the less important words in your sentence. Then it builds its answer, its prediction, using all those brightly lit, connected pieces of information. It's brilliant. Okay, so that's the basic theory. But here's the really cool part. You don't need to be a researcher at a massive tech company to play around with this stuff anymore. The open source community is on fire right now. So let's check out some of the amazing models you can actually experiment with right now.
And just look at the variety here. It's incredible. You've got the huge ones, like Meta's LLaMA family, which are super popular and really efficient. Then you have these scrappy models from Mistral AI that just punch way above their weight class, giving you awesome performance even on a regular computer. And it goes all the way down to tiny models like Microsoft's Phi 3, which are small enough to run on a phone. And that's not even counting all the specialized versions the community builds for things like writing code or just being better at conversations.
Now, seeing a list like that might feel a little intimidating, but trust me, getting your hands dirty with this stuff is way easier than you probably think. So let's talk about the actual tools that can put all this power right on your own machine.
So if you want to try one of those models we just talked about, these are your best bets. Tools like LLaMA and LM Studio are amazing. They make it incredibly easy to just download and start chatting with a model right on your laptop with just a couple of clicks. If you're a bit more of a developer, you can dive deeper with libraries from Hugging Face or even run the models directly with Python to get full control.
So there you have it. We've gone from the simple idea of an autocomplete machine to the attention spotlight that makes it all work, all the way to the actual models and tools you can use today. The barrier to getting started has literally never been lower. So the only real question left is, now that you know how it works, what are you going to build with it? Thanks for